So tonight we have, in fact, 3 paragraphs to study. The first is substance and subsistence. The second is causality. And we end by the 3 intellectual virtues: wisdom, understanding, and the virtue of first principle. So we'll try during the first hour, the first class, to present, to explain what is substance and subsistence. And I hope we have time to begin with causality. Okay? Well, I told you just before, it is probably the most difficult subject in metaphysics. It is what we have studied. But it is very important for theology, because in theology, many dogma, many definitions are using the concept of substance, subsistence, and person and hypostasis. It is those concepts we study. If you don't understand everything not very clearly, don't be discouraged, huh? Because sometimes they come through effort, not at the first time. Huh? So I will try to simplify that the most I can, the most I can, and try to understand the concept. Those concepts of, for example, in the Holy Eucharist, we speak about substance and accident. And when we speak about Jesus, we speak about hypostasis. That means one supposite, one person in two natures in one person. You know? The Holy Trinity is the same. So the notion of persons, the notion of subsistence, and the notion of substance, they are linked together. What is difficult, it is because sometimes there is a little distinction, a little nuance. So at first sight, I will say to you, many of the concepts we study are in reality the same. But we can see them at different point of view. And because we see them at different point of view, we give them another name. Okay? So I will try to do it. The first concept is the substance. Substance, we saw that already. Substare, to stay under. And we studied that when we studied categories, predicament. And we saw the category substance existing in itself, and accident existing, being existing in another. And we saw there were 9 accidents and 1 enter substance. Okay. So substance is different from essence. That's the first paragraph. Well, frequently we use one for the other. But in essence is linked with the notion of existence. Substance is, essence is linked with the notion of existence. But substance is not linked directly with the notion of existence. When we speak about substance, we don't speak necessarily about existence. So, in fact, they are almost the same. Substance is an essence, existing in itself. Okay? I continue. This relationship of substance to existence, it should be noted that substance is the basic and independent source of a thing unity. So what is make a thing one? It is its substance. My substance is my eye. Is my eye. The substance. For example, I was a baby. After that, I became an adolescent. After that, I became a young man, etc. Now I am an old man. All that it is in one substance. But the accidents change. The accident changed. For example, 2 years ago, I was a little bit fatter than today. So I lost not substance, I lost accident quantity. Quantity. Okay. And the ultimate subject, substance, what is under accident of all predicates, accident, predicate, because accidents, quantity, quality, relation are predicate of the substance, ascribed to that thing. So that is the definition of substance. Is the source of the reality, the unity of the thing. The unity of the thing. In fact, the substance is the ultimate subject. Okay? Now, two functions of the substance. First, the primary function and the secondary. Now, the primary function of the substance is to subsist. What is the meaning of to subsist? To exist. In fact, but we will add another thing. When we will say substance which exists, a substance which exists, we will call that subsistence. So a substance which subsists. We give a special name to that. Because the notion of existence is not necessarily implied in the substance. For example, I can study the substance of what is salt, NaCl, chloride, sodium chloride, and I don't have the existence of that, you know. So, if in fact a subsistence will add an idea, a determination, which is the determination of existence. Okay, and be sustained in himself. So the property of a substance is to exist, to be in itself. It is in itself. I exist in myself. But my quantity, my qualities, my relation, all that exists in my substance, in my mind, in my I. You know? Okay? Now, secondary, so the primary meaning means different from accident. Different from accident. The secondary meaning, it is the subject. It is itself the foundation sustaining accident. In fact, the secondary is the function of being a subject. In fact, both are very linked, one to the other. St. Thomas focuses on the primary function when he states that substance is essence. Interesting. We are just studying the difference between essence and substance, and St. Thomas says it is essence, yes, but it is something with other thing, to which per se existence is proper. That is different. It is essence, but don't forget, accident also is essence. Both are essence. Substance is essence in itself. Accidents are essence in another. For example, the color blue or the color red exists not in itself. There is no substance red. But they are things which are red. So the color is in the substance. The accidents are essence in the substance. And they exist in the substance. So that is, substance is a model existence, but in itself, and accidents are mode of existence in an other. Okay? So I repeat many times the same thing, but repetition is mother of learning. Okay? Though I continue, in so doing, St. Thomas also gives the reason why the second function of supporting accident is possible. So it is possible because the substance is able to support accident. Why? Because substance exists in itself, subsists in itself. Okay? Note that the definition given by Aquinas, we have both. We have essence and we have existence. So, when I speak about essence, I speak about existence. But strictly speaking, in the definition of substance, we don't refer directly to existence. We refer first to essence. But in a sense, that can exist in itself or can exist in another. Okay? I continue. Yet St. Thomas is explicit that to exist per se, that means in itself or by itself, no, is not the definition of substance, because by this we do not manifest the quiddity but its existence. in a creature, its quiddity is not existent. That means, what is the quiddity? It is the essence. And the essence is not the existent. So if I know that an accident is in the substance, I can know that accident as the essence of a thing. Is that necessarily existing? The essence does not imply the existence, only in God. It's the same. The substance in itself, accidents in themselves, do not imply existence. In fact, substance is an essence able to receive existence. For example, I, myself, I am a substance, but that substance did not exist 100 years ago, no? So it was in potency, but it was not in existence. It was an essence. I was already in potency, a rational animal, but I was not in actu. I did not receive the existence of being. So my substance was only in potency. Okay?
Father,
Yes.
can you say this, would this be another passable example of an angel has essence but not substance?
That's a good question. An angel, an angel, yes, substance, but not a material substance, spiritual, because he has accident. An angel, we can say I. Saint Michael can say I. Saint Gabriel can say I. But not for the same reason. He has not a quantity. We have quantity. We will come back on that when we speak about individuation. Okay? It's a good question. Next page. Now, what is formerly a finite substance? Bon, we speak about finite being. Okay, we don't speak about God here. So I read the text. The proper formality of a finite substance may be identified as its capacity for independence. Capacity. So the formula of a substance is to exist in itself. If it exists in itself, it does not exist in another, so it is independent, it is autonomous. That is the formality of the substance. Okay? Is a per se existent. What is per se? That means of its own right. Of its own right. Or per se. We cannot say by himself because only God exists by himself. It's difficult to translate per se in English. Okay. I continue. The proper formality, that means existing in itself, not in another, distinguish a finite substance from existence, from essence, from nature, from accident. So here we have the four subjects of our discussion. The first, finite substance is distinguished from existence. That means a finite substance, I already told you, is not existence. Only God exists by himself. In God, the substance and accidents are one. They are one, you know. His quality, the quality of God, his intellect, his power are one with his essence, with his substance, with his I. I am who I am. I am. Period. So the finite substance as existent as act in relation to which substance is in potency. Finite substance is in relation with some thing in potency. That means material substance don't exist by themselves. So they are in potency to exist. And when they exist, they are in potency to have many different accidents. For example, I was not existing 100 years ago. I was in potency, my substance, my I was in potency. Now my I continued to be in potency, not to existence, because it exists. But I exist, but in potency to other accidents. I hope I will be wiser, I will be holier, I will progress, you know, etc. And my relation with me, I will know a new person, I will make a new friendship, a new relation. but it was always my own I. Okay, I continue. Between brackets, it is not a proper characteristic of a finite substance to exist. Existence is not an essential property for a finite existence. Okay, I go to next paragraph. Substance is distinguished from essence. Oh, I already spoke about that. Substance is the essence, it is an essence to which is attached a characteristic. What is a characteristic? To exist in itself. It is an essence with a characteristic to exist in itself. Why? Because accident also is an essence with a characteristic. And that characteristic is to exist in another. Both are essence. And both are called to existence, but in different mode, different manner. Okay? So I read the text. Substance is distinguished from essence, in that substance signifies the basic principle in a thing, in its reference to an independent mode of existence. So basic it is to be in. It is more than existence, it is to exist in itself. Accident is more than existence, it is to exist in another. Okay? I go to. Okay, I already explained all that. I go to next page, page 228. So we saw the difference between substance and essence. Now we see the difference between substance and nature. Many times in logic and in philosophy of man, I told my student that the whatness, the quiddity of a thing, or definition, the essence of a thing, the nature of a thing, are essentially the same thing. For example, what is man? Man is a rational animal. That is his definition, his whatness. That is the domain of logic. Logic. What is the essence of man? Is to be a rational animal. But we are in metaphysics, and here we are linked with existence. It is a rational animal with the possibility of existence, in potency to exist. But it does not necessarily exist because man did not always exist. Existed, we know that million years before it did not exist. And what is the nature of man? Animal, a rational animal, the same. But what is the perspective, the point of view, the specificity? It is the essence as principle of activity. So the nature is the essence, or if you want, is the whatness, but is the essence seen at a special point of view, the view of activity. For example, thinking, willing, etc. Man is a rational animal. Because he is rational, he thinks. He has an intellect. Because he is an animal, he eats. He has a biologic body. Okay, now we add to that the concept of substance. And we just saw, just before, that substance is essence, but with a difference. It is essence existing, called to exist in itself. Okay? And we saw that nature is the essence as principle of activity. So we will see the same thing here. What is the difference between the nature and substance? It will be the fact that in nature we consider the substance as principle of activity, which is not included in the substance itself. And how can I know the nature of a thing? It is through its accidents, through its action, through its passion, through its quality, through its relation, etc. is the way I can distinguish the nature of a thing. So there is a link, of course, between substance and nature. Okay? Substance is different from nature. I read the text. And in one and at the same time, substance, accident, and nature can express the same reality, but differ in connotation by a distinction of reasoning. Reasoning. For example, I can say John is a substance. G-H-O-N. No, G-O-H. Is a substance. John is a substance. I can say essence of John is to be rational and to be animal. I can say the nature of John is to be rational and to be animal. So the distinction is always reason that means with a foundation in the reality. In fact, John is a substance, John is an essence, John is a nature. But when I speak about John as a substance, there is a difference between substance and essence and nature. So the distinction is a distinction of reason. It is why it is so difficult to distinguish them. Because in the reality there is the same thing. But I can distinguish using different names depending on the point of view I look at those things. Okay. Now, next paragraph. Substance is different from accident. Or substance, a substance, that's interesting, the precise difference. So is of such perfection that it can exist independently. The characteristic of John as a substance is to exist independently of all the rest, all other substances, other individuals. Okay? But accident is imperfect principle because it needs the subject to exist, it needs the substance to exist. If there is no substance, if there is no subject, the accidents or the predicate or the attribute cannot put into a subject. So the substance, it is characterized by the fact that it is independent from other, but the accidents are characterized by the fact they are dependent on the subject. Okay? For example, I don't depend essentially on quantity, because I will not be the same I am today I was 2 years ago. I will change my identity, but my identity didn't change because I lost 50 pounds. I am the same. So my I is independent from my accidents in a way, but my I need my accident because it need that such accident. We need accident. I cannot exist without quantity, without quality, without relation, without as a body, place and time. But the accident, color, for example, is not depending on this leaf or in that shirt or in that wall. For example, the green. Green is not dependent on paint, on the wall, or on your shirt, or on a thing which is green. No. It cannot exist alone. They have to exist in. So accidents are depending on the substance. But substance is not dependent on the accident, even if a substance of material thing cannot exist without accident, but not this accident. Okay. So the substantial existence of a thing is not an accident, but rather it is the actuality of its form. Okay. I go to next page. Now we saw the difference between substance and essence, substance and nature. Nature.
can I ask a quick question?
Yes, yes, yes.
You said that ens per se is being of its own right. What's ens in se? Is that being in another? Ens in
It's the
se.
same. It's the same.
Same thing?
Same thing.
Okay.
Okay, it's good question, huh? In se or per se, huh? They are the same.
Okay.
It's so true that sometimes accidents are called in esse. To exist in, and substance esse.
Okay.
Substance esse. The accident in esse, in ens. Or they say sometimes ens ensis. The being of being, huh? Being of being, ens ensis. That means accidents don't have an independent existence.
Okay.
That is the problem of the Eucharist, but it is a mystery. Huh? The substance change, the accidents stay. But the accidents, they don't stay alone. They stay in a new substance. Otherwise, an accident cannot exist without a substance. But the mystery is, accidents are not changing, but substance is changing. So it is a faith, mystery of faith. You know? Okay? That is interesting to see how philosophy gives some words to St. Thomas to express that, not to explain, to express that. St. Thomas uses the concept of substance and accident. Okay. Now, proper formality of an accident. Okay, we already saw that. Huh? It is an essence existing in another. Huh? Ens ensis. Huh? Ens ensis. The being of the being. Huh? If you go to number 2, on the proper characteristic, in virtue of his imperfect essence, imperfect because he cannot exist in itself, he exists in the substance. Accident, like substance, in having capacity for existence. Because accident is an essence, like any essence, it has a capacity to exist. And de facto, in fact, accident exists when the substance exists. For example, the accident, the mode of being we call quantity, exists when your eye is existing as an individual. As an individual, you have quantity. So it is an essence, but it is also an essence able to receive existence. And that essence we call accident receive existence when it is in the subsisting substance, a subsisting substance, okay, existing substance. Okay. But here St. Thomas makes a distinction a little bit difficult. I will try to explain that. For this reason, accident is most perfectly called a being of a being, ens ensis, and also is said to be the being in a qualified way. That means a being destined to exist in another. I don't want, substance is a simply, we say in Latin, simpliciter. That means it's a being absolutely. That means it exists in itself. But accident, quantity, quality, relation exist in another. That means they are secundum. Secundum, that means, how do you say that? Conforming to another, depending on another, okay? Following another. Okay, next paragraph. Substance and accidents are interrelated. Accident and substance are distinguished by different capacities for different modes of existence. In fact, what makes substance and accident different? Because one exists in itself, per se, in se, the other exists in another, in another. So I continue. Secondly, the interrelation may be highlighted by noting that every finite existence, substance, has need for further perfection. That means a substance alone, finite, I speak about finite, being, cannot exist alone. A substance cannot exist without accident. A finite substance, the substance of a finite being cannot exist without accident. And if it is a material being, it needs absolutely quantity. Quantity. Okay? So the substance and accidents are interrelated. A substance alone cannot exist, an accident alone cannot exist. They exist together. But the priority of existence, of course, is in the substance, because the substance is the same and accident can change. The substance continues to be the same. Okay? But the substance needs accident. Otherwise, it would be a substance without accidents. It is not a substance. It will not exist. It will not exist. Okay? Even after my death, when there will be only a soul, my soul will exist with my accident, quantity, quality, not quantity, but qualities, perfection, virtues, knowledge, love, charity, all that is virtue. I will have a relation with God, with others, with angels, with... Okay. Second point. Third point. In this way of looking at it, an accident is neither a perfect being, because it cannot exist alone, nor an individually existing being. There is no individual existence of accident. The weight, 5 pounds does not exist. What exists is butter. 5 pounds of butter. 5 pounds alone is only in my mind. Mathematics, digits are my mind, they're not in the reality. Okay? But accident is a principle that complements substance. So we can say that substance, that accident, at the point of view, is to substance like act idempotency. That is surprising, That means the substance cannot be substance without accident, like potency cannot be a being without act. That means there is an interdependence. The dependence is not only on the side of the accident, the dependence is also on the side of the substance. Both are related. We cannot separate them, yes.
Would substance without accidents, which you say is obviously impossible, would that
Except
be primary matter? Is that
No,
the same thing?
yes, primary matter is, in fact, does not exist
Right.
except in potency. Because primary matter is a matter without any determination. It's a good question, without any determination. So if matter is determined, it's no more primary matter, it's secondary matter. In fact, exists only secondary matter. And we arrived at the concept of prime matter only through abstraction. It's a pure being of reason. It exists only in my mind. Second matter exists in the reality. Prime matter, but we can say, if there is second matter, there must be a prime matter. But that prime matter is essentially a kind of potency. It's a real potency because it will exist, but it's only a potency. And he has a kind of reality only in relation with a real existence we'll have in the future. For example, 2,000 years ago, each of us, we were in potency to exist. But many people were able to exist, they will never exist. St. Thomas called that pure possible. Pure possible. But, the example of a tree. A tree sends billions of seeds, billions of seeds during his life. And maybe one or two will become an oak or a maple tree. So the other are purely possible. Okay? I go to next page, page 230. Therefore, a substance does not simply subsist by itself alone, but needs proper and common accident. So a substance needs accident, like potency needs act. But on another point of view, accident need potency. Need substance. So, you know, they need mutually. They need mutually. Okay? I continue. The existence, essay, of each accident is an accident in. Is the reason why we call the existence of the accident in essay. In essay. To exist in. And substance is essay. Substance is essay, and the other is in essay. That means existing in. Existing, to be in. Huh? Be in. Okay? Now, the notion of subsistence. Well, we have two approaches to that notion, an abstract approach and a concrete approach. And the distinguish is not very easy, but we try to keep with that. Anyway, the first, the abstract noun, is to denote the order to independent existence, or subsistence. Subsistence is the order of a thing, of a substance, to independent existence. What is the meaning of that? In fact, what is subsistence? It is a substance which exists independently of another. That is, subsistence is the existence of a substance. And that substance is independent, is autonomously. That is subsistence. I think if you understand that, you understand the essential. Oh, the rest will be explanation about that. Okay? Subsistence is, we can say it is the existence of the substance. Or it is a substance subsisting, existing, a substance existing. So if you combine both, subsistence. Because we saw just before that the notion of existence is not necessarily implied in the notion of substance. But if that substance in fact exists, it is more than a substance, it is a subsistence. For example, we can say that the essence of man is to be a rational animal. So I can say that the essence of the substance of man is to be a rational animal. And I can say the accident, quantity, quality, action are in that animality and rationality. But that does not imply that man exists. But when I am in front of this man, or I, or you, I am in front of a substance existing. That is a subsistence. And we say sometimes also a supposite. A supposite in Latin, suppositum. That means to be put, posit, to be put, sub. Suppository. And in Greek is hypostasis. Yeah, the word to stay, stasis, hypo, under. So, and the same thing. So, we have to become familiar with that. The word substance, existing, become subsistence. Okay? And subsistence is the same as supposite. That means, what is supposite? To be put under, to carry, to be under. A hypostasis, the same. Yes?
When they talk about a minimum quality of life for like children or families, they use the term subsistence living. Is that what they mean, that they're just existing?
They have what they need to exist, to subsist. In fact, in English, like in French, like in Latin, subsist, there is, to subsist is just to be able to continue to be a substance, no?
Subsidiary?
Yes, to be a substance. No? I am I, but my I continue to be I. So when my I continue to be I say I subsist. Not only I am, but I continue to be. That is subsistence, permanence in substance. So we use the word subsistence, so he has to work to obtain, to gain his subsistence. I mean, what he needs to subsist. But that is not exactly the same meaning as here. Subsistence here is the existence of the substance, or what is under the accident continually, the change, subsistence, suppositum, or hypothesis. Yes.
Is it like when the Catechism says that the Church of Christ subsists in the Catholic Church?
Yes. Continue to prolong is a reality continue in the subsist, sub-exist, in fact, sub-exist, continue to exist under. Okay? Secondly, the same word, now the property of substance having an independent existence. So the word is important, independent existence. Because a substance exists in itself, independent. It's a characteristic of the supposed. It's the characteristic of, and that, if supposed or hypostasis or subsistence is intelligent, we call that a person. A person is a subsistence, is a supposed, is a hypothesis, intelligent. That is a person. Otherwise, it is an individual. A cat is an individual. A cat is not a person. But a cat is a supposed. A cat is a subsistence. Your cat is a substance continuing to exist. Okay? But it's not a person. So that in that notion, we already that we have two concepts. The concept of independence, independence from other. Aliquid, different. And when we study, you remember last week, we studied the transcendental, Not the transcendental one. What I told you is with aliquid, other is with aliquid. Because the one being must be different from the other, must be other, okay, independent. Now, excuse me, the same word is also used as a concrete noun to denote a substantial essence. So that means an essence. We know that substance is an essence, a substantial essence, an essence having a substance in its relationship to proportionate existence. That means the substantial essence of a thing is corresponding to a proportionate existence. The existence of a man corresponds to his essence. The existence of a cat corresponds to the essence of a cat. And that is important because the essence of God is not the same as the essence of man. So if we attain a kind of subsistence which is above our strength, we must receive that from another. For example, sanctifying grace, divinization of man, that is something which is above our essence. Okay. Now I go to the definition of Father Werner. The first definition, I will explain that after. The existence proper to a whole and uncommunicated substance. But what we find in every substance subsisting or subsistence, it is that subsistence exists proper. That means it is for that whole and uncommunicated. Uncommunicated substance. Two things, two characteristics, whole and uncommunicated. And we find that in every definition of individual. Every individual is whole, that means is completed, complete or completed in his order, and or if you want, it is I, for those who are intelligent, or it is the one, unum, unique, unum. Is perfect in his order. For example, when a man has an intellect and a free will, is perfect as a man. Maybe he's not perfect relatively to other men or to God, but in his order, yes. I have 2 legs, I have 2 eyes, a cat has 4 legs, but he needs what he has to process. And also uncommunicable. That means different. Different from the other. Or in Latin, aliquid, or other. Aliquid. Other. Autonomous. I mean, he is existing in itself, not in another. Autonomous. Independent. Different. And find it and for material being, individual. Or individuated. So that is the 2 characteristics of a substance of a finite being. And we can apply that even to angels. Even to angels. Angels, each one must be complete, each one must be different. Otherwise, if they are not different, 2,000 angels and 1 angel is the same. But they are not the same, they are different. Okay, we'll see what. I gave you another page, I think you have that, that page here. Yes, it's not in Father Wallace. Oh, yes, it's here. Wait a minute. Just here. Oh. Here I put on that page, the essential is here. And I go, what is a substance? Subsistence. I go to the 3rd line. I take the definition of Father Wilmer. We have that here. Okay? The formal perfection, whereby a nature is completed and is uncommunicated to another. So I will take one by one all the elements of what is a subsistence. First is a formal perfection. It's a proper characteristic. It is a mode of existence. Okay? Whereby a nature, we saw a substance and nature. Don't forget nature, principle of activities. Substantial essence, consider principle. Bon. That nature, that means the subsistent being is a principle of activities. Okay? Is completed and uncommunicated. Completed is own. It is an intimate, complete subject of its own being. And after that, uncommunicated. Okay? And we call that, all that, completed, that formal perfection, nature completed and uncommunicated, we call that a supposite. A supposite. Now, what is a supposite or a suppositum? In Greek, hypostasis. It is a substance complete in itself, own, and uncommunicated. Complete and uncommunicated. And if that substance, that subsistence is intelligent, we call that a person. A person is a suppositum, hypostasis, which has rational or intelligent nature. So Boëtius, a philosopher of the 6th century, says a person is an individual, substance of rational nature. And I think the definition of Father Werner is very, very good. That section is important for philosophy of man when we study what is a human person. It is important in ethics for the definition of the foundation of right, it is a human person. It is important in theology, when sacred theology, when you study the nature of Jesus, when you study the Holy Trinity. when you study the Holy Eucharist. You know, they are notion very, very, very important. And I try to make that very simple. So hypothesis is a substance existing. Therefore, a subsistence whole and uncommunicated of intellectual level, with dotted with the intellect, with a reason. That is a person. Okay? And you know what is serious when a person does not act, because in nature he does not act according to his nature. He destroys nature. It is immoral. So ethics is based on that. The notion of nature in ethics is based on that metaphysical conception. You understand why many ethicians don't accept that, because they don't accept metaphysics. Another remark, maybe I told that to you. Did I explain the word whole in English with holy? No? Okay. You know, in the Bible, when we speak about a man who is a holy man, we say he's a just man, justus, just. That means the virtue of justice is in every virtue must be just in the middle. Okay. But if you translate saint in English, what do you write? Holy. If you translate saint in Latin or in English or in French or in Spanish,
Sanctus.
you write sanctus or saint. That is very interesting because each translation insists on one aspect of the person. You know, holy comes from whole. And holy means perfect, complete. Holy insists on the fact God is absolutely, infinitely perfect. Sanctus means put apart, sacred, separated from, transcendent, and different. You are the totally different. You are the totally transcendent. That is sanctus, sanctus, sanctus. It's interesting, no? To understand that in the two translations, one insists on one aspect of what is a person, the other insists on the other aspect what is a person. And we have no translation to have both together. So when you say that, holy, 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 God is complete. And sanctus, God is totally apart, totally different, totally independent, totally autonomous, it depends on nothing. But all that is to express the idea of holiness, of sanctity, you know. So even in English we have holy, we have also saint, no? But in French we have only saint, we don't have holy, complete. But we have perfect. Okay. A person, it is a supposite of rational nature. So I already explained that in detail. On page 232, I gave you, I don't have time, but you know, after what I explained to you, you can read by yourself that page of Father Beetle. It is very intense, but you know, I think you should, if it is too difficult, don't bother with that. Huh? But if you understand what I explained to you just before, I think now you could be able to read that, that page here. Okay? In fact, he explains what is hypostasis. Huh? It is a suppositum. Huh? It is a subsistent being. And sometimes also when we speak about hypostasis, we speak about person. Huh? So hypostatic union is a composite unity of two natures combined in one hypostasis, in one supposite, in one person. One person with two natures. That is the mystery of incarnation. One nature in three persons. That is the mystery of the Holy Trinity. One God in two persons. Mystery. Okay? But in philosophy, what we can say is not contradictory, because it is not 1 equal 3. It is one nature in true person, not the same. You know? Because a Muslim, and see, you commit a sacrilege because you multiply God, you are polytheist. Huh? Because we have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Okay? That is difficult, of course. Huh? We don't have three gods, we have only one God in three persons. To express that, you need the definition of nature as a principle of activity. And you need the definition of person as a subsistence being, which is whole and uncommunicated. That is interesting when we speak about God. Even between us, I cannot communicate. My individuality is incommunicable, a fortiori for God. I am already for you something. God is infinitely sanctus. Yes. Okay. And here we have the foundation of freedom also. Because I have autonomy. Of course, I exercise that through my intellect. Huh? Okay. I go to page 233. So I already spoke about the relation between nature, essence, substance, all those things, you know. We saw, up to now I spoke especially about finite material being, finite material being. But if you go to page 233, number 2, we can also speak about immaterial substances, immaterial substances. We say here, in the part, each angel has his own personality, his own person, his own supposing, qualified, determined by the mission which is given to each one. Because there is no, strictly speaking, there is no individual among angels, because there is no quantity. Each angel is a species. Yes?
And we get quantity from matter.
Matter.
Right? Yeah.
Quantity is linked with matter.
Okay.
Okay? So they have no matter, they have no quantity, but they have qualities. And they are individual, and they are not individual, but the species of angel are different depending on their mission. You see that in the Bible. Gabriel, Raphael, they are called, their name corresponds to their mission. Interesting. Raphael, God heals, Michael, wisdom like God. Gabriel, strong strength of God, you know. Each one has they are defined through their, like a congregation is defined through his charism, okay, through his energy. I continued the ontological ordering of the concept. So the first is the individual, nature, and after that, subsistence and accident. I don't want to insist on that, but at the bottom of the page, at the bottom. Subsistence, abstractly considered, is the order to existent actuality. That means, if I take subsistence as an abstract concept, abstract, it is in potency to become a reality. But if I consider subsistence as a concrete reality, it is the way I use it when I say that subsistence is a substance existing. If I say that, it is the essence, so order to existential reality. In fact, I think when we speak about subsistence, we speak about existence. Existence in the concrete world. We use the word subsistence in the concrete level, not in the abstract level. Of course, we can say that subsistence is called to exist. But in fact, when a thing is subsisting, it exists. It already having existence. It is in a sense with existence. Okay? Page 233. So, the notion of nature order to exist is analogous, because we can apply that to material being and to immaterial being. So we can speak about subsistence for material thing, but we can speak also about subsistence for spiritual reality, for angels, for our soul after our death. It will continue to be itself, and for God, of course. So, but the subsistence in God, and the subsistence in the angels, and the subsistence in my soul after death, in my subsistence now, are not exactly the same. So it is existing in, but in a different mode. God exists by himself, I exist by another. My soul will subsist as a form of a body, without a body. An angel exists as a species. They are essence, existence spiritually without a body. So their individuation is given by their mission, their mission, their name. In fact, you know, in the Bible, the power of the name. The name indicates the mission. Moses, for example, Jesus. Yes, brother.
If you say species is angels.
Each angel is a species.
Oh,
Because there is no individual. There is no matter to individualize an angel.
Does the word genus, is that used?
The genus is spirit.
Spirit,
Okay? Because you have many kind of angels. You have 9 colors of angels according to St. Thomas. Okay? But they are different not by quantity. They can be different only by quality and relation. Relation to God. That means, what is their relation to God? It is their mission. In fact, angelos means
messenger.
sent.
Messenger.
Messenger. Messenger is sent. Is sent, messenger. So essentially, they are defined by their mission. Okay? Like a soldier is defined by his mission, to defend the country. Okay? So, in fact, we cannot arrive to the notion of subsistence, suppose it, all those notions without using analogy. Even existence is not the same in the substance, and existence is not the same in the accident. Both are existing, but in a different mode. One in itself, the other in another. So we have the concept of mode. But the mode is a delimitation, a determination produced in some actual reality by a principle or a cause extrinsic to itself. For example, the rapidity or the slowness of a motion that depend on an agent which modify your activity. That activity is a mode of rapidity, degrees of virtue, etc. So what is a mode? According to Jolivet, is a determination of a substance. We have 2 kinds of mode. We have substantial mode and accidental mode. Well, substantial mode is existence and subsistence, and you go to page 235. Accidental mode, they are those who determine the substance, like the 9 accidents. And the 9 accidents are accidental mode of being. Quantity, quality, relation, action, passion, position, when, time, possession. Alors you have 2 kinds of, you have transcendental mode and categorical mode. But transcendental mode, we saw that last class when we studied the unum, verum, et unum. Remember that? The transcendental mode of being. Being exists as one, as true, and as good. That is transcendental mode of being. But we have also a categorical mode of being. They are the 9 categories existing in the substance. The 9 categories. Remember, quantity, quality, relation, action, passion, where, when, position, and possession. So we studied that in logic, and we continue, because all reality enter in enter those 10 boxes. You remember that in logic, huh? Okay. Now, if we continue, modes are pervasive in nature. Huh? That means modes are everywhere. And for unexperienced reality, involve passion or limited perfection. Insofar as, that is very important, whatever is received is limited according to the recipient, according to the mode of receiving. Quid recipitur ad modum recipientis recipitur. It's a very, very important principle in philosophy. Everything is received according to the disposition of the receiver. We are 6 here, I'm sure not a single one received my message the same way. It is normal. Huh? Everything is received. Jesus did miracle. Someone were an admiration, otherwise they detest Jesus. The same thing. Huh? The same thing. Okay? Now, two principles producing. What is the thing producing modes? We have two, the agent and the mother. Agent, because modes are provoked by something outside. Like my cough is produced by dust probably. When I make dust, I cough. So my mode of coughing depends on an agent, chalk. And the matter, the material cause. So the efficient cause or agent affects a form of determinate species, and so determinate. We are determined by an efficient. You know, if what you receive, the mode of depend not only on your disposition, depend only also on the speaker or the teacher. Suppose I cannot speak English well. Huh? You don't understand, I hope you understand a little bit my English. But suppose you understand almost nothing. You are a good receiver, but I have a bad teacher. So I'm not a good agent. That is important for a priest, for a teacher, for when we send a message. Of course, you must have people attentive to receive your message, but you have to express clearly your message. If it is not clear, on television, they want it so clear. When they make advertising, what they do, they put on strongest sound. Even if you zap lower, they say people are crazy. Okay. If unfortunately you don't change your volume, it is very, very loud. Why? Because they want to impress you. Okay? And material cause, by its relative aptness, that means the mother must have some aptitude to receive the form. If I work, suppose I want to sculpt a statue in wood, I take a very hard wood. In Cameroon we have it called iron wood. It is as strong as iron. It is almost impossible to cut, very difficult to cut. It's impossible to sculpt, impossible. But it's not apt, you know. So a mode is influenced by two factors. The agent acting on, and also the aptitude, the disposition of the receiving. Suppose I teach music, song, but one of my students is deaf. I am a good teacher, I have a good organist, but he is deaf. He cannot receive the message. Or if I put a deaf man to conduct an orchestra, it will be horrible. No? It was the case of Beethoven. Beethoven conducted his 9th symphony, he was deaf. But the player was so respectful to Beethoven that they follow his sign. In fact, I think the first violin was, you know, when the conductor is not functioning well, it is the first violin who takes the job. So you have to follow him to give the order. When suppose that the conductor is a little bit He had too little vodka before, you know? Huh? Yes. So the first violinist is the one who runs. The eyes of the player are not on the on the conductor, they are on the first violinist. We need an agent. We need an agent, but we need also disposition. You know, both are important. Huh? I finally, the last reflection, it is the individuality. Huh? It is the principle of individuation. Huh? The principle of individuation. What makes me an individual? So we saw that things are made with matter and form. Determining matter, but matter in itself has no determination. So what makes matter determined? It is the quantity. Quantity. Matter quantified, or quantify matter. Or we see this one, signed matter, signed by quantity. Signed by quantity. Signed quantity. Sometimes philosophers say signed matter, or quantify matter, or sign matter by quantity, or matter signed by quantity. Well, it is the quantity which makes me different from you. Because by matter we are sharing the same atoms. But what makes my atoms different from your atoms? It is my quantity. And one of the characteristics of quantity, it is the impenetrability of matter. You know? Okay? One atom cannot take one atom occupies a place, and the other occupies another place. They cannot occupy at the same time the same place. No? So it is now, if you go just after that, point 5, intrinsic mode, and we saw that the subsistence, essence, all that is intrinsic mode. And now, next after, when we come back, we study extrinsic mode. And those extrinsic mode are the accidents, are categories, and they are known. They are linked with causality. So they are linked with causality. We saw just before that we need an agent. We need an agent. So we need a cause. Next chapter, after the break, will be causality, the four causes. Okay, take a good rest. You need that.